People have always felt a pull toward the unusual. For centuries, circuses found ways to profit from that fascination, reshaping real individuals into monsters, villains, and legends. Some of these people were born with rare conditions that seemed almost unreal. Others were entirely constructed, costumed, renamed, and presented as nightmares. Whether authentic or staged, the audience rarely seemed to care. If it unsettled them and filled the seats, it served its purpose. Some stepped into the role willingly. Others were never given the option. These are 15 scary circus freaks that actually exist. Number 15, Little Man of Nuremberg. Matthias Buenger stood just under 13 inches tall and was born without hands, feet, or thighs. None of that prevented him from doing what most men never could. Born near Nuremberg in 1674, he grew into a performer, artist, calligrapher, musician, and engineer. Using his small arm stumps, he learned to play several instruments with surprising precision. He designed machines, produced lifelike drawings, and handled cards, dice, and ninepins as comfortably as anyone else. His performances included cups, birds, and subtle sleight of hand that confused men with full bodies. His micrography, made from tiny lettering arranged into images, stood apart from anything seen before. He married 4 times and fathered 14 children while traveling across Europe, appearing before kings and nobility. His signature vellum works were often completed and signed on the spot with ornate care. He eventually settled in Ireland and died in 1739. What remained were drawings, family trees, and sacred texts written almost too small to notice. Beyond the posters and spectacle, Binger proved entirely genuine. Number 14, 8-footed horse. Somewhere beneath a dusty sideshow tent during the 1940s stood a horse unlike anything else. 8 legs supported its body, with 2 additional limbs hanging from its shoulders. This was neither sculpture nor illustration. It was a living animal. A photograph preserved by the Library of Congress offers little explanation. Though sideshow barkers never relied on one, the 8-footed horse represented an old-school freak show attraction, direct, unsettling, and impossible to ignore. This tradition traces back to the world shaped by P.T. Barnum in the 1800s, where authentic deformities appeared beside fabrications and differences became business. Animals endured the same treatment. 2 heads, extra legs, or missing features meant immediate exhibition. The horse was displayed, stared at, and moved along the circuit as curiosity demanded. No background followed it, no story survived, only a body that defied expectation. When interest faded, it disappeared like countless others, leaving behind a single image and unanswered unease. Number 13, Joseph Borolasi. Joseph Borolasi stood 2 feet tall, born in 1739 in what is now Polish Ukraine. His family lived with little, and hardship deepened after his father's death. Change arrived when a noblewoman noticed him and took him into her care. She educated him, treated him kindly, and raised him as her own. He learned music, developed polished manners, and traveled widely across Europe. Later, another noblewoman introduced him to royal courts throughout Austria, France, and Poland. He met Maria Theresa, who gifted him a diamond ring, while Poland's exiled king granted a pension. Joseph married, had a daughter, and eventually settled in England, where he performed music and wrote his memoirs. One encounter stayed with him, a moment standing beside a giant over 8 feet tall, whose hand appeared capable of holding many men his size. Joseph never belonged to sideshows. His life unfolded among palaces and salons. He died at 98, mentally clear until the end. Number 12, the Cape Breton giant Angus Macaskill was never an illusion. His size required no condition to explain it. Born on a small Scottish island in 1825, he continued growing naturally. His family later settled in Englishtown, Nova Scotia, where his stature became widely known. As an adult, he reached 7 feet 10 inches and weighed nearly 600 pounds with shoulders spanning close to 4 feet. Despite this, he moved with ease and worked alongside others. Fishing, hauling, and lifting heavy loads filled his days. Locals called him Big Boy or Gillimore, names spoken without spectacle. His strength became legendary. Anchors lifted overhead, barrels carried under each arm, even a horse raised over a fence. In 1849, he joined Barnum's show and toured with Tom Thumb. Queen Victoria summoned him to Windsor Castle and presented gold rings. Afterward, Angus returned home, bought property, opened a general store, and lived quietly. Illness struck during a trip to Halifax in 1863. He died shortly after returning home. Number 11, the unknown Irish giant. Joseph Borolasi once stood beside an Irish giant measuring 8 feet 4 inches tall. The man was calm, broad, and powerful. He bent down to greet Joseph and remained still as crowds gathered. His name may have been O'Brien, though records remain unclear. Several giants used that name across 18th century Britain, some authentic, others fabricated. This one carried weight. He toured, posed with dwarfs, and appeared in sketches, photographs, and written accounts. Stories followed him after his death. Some claimed his burial in a church vault protected his remains from grave robbers. Others believed his bones were taken anyway. Joseph remembered the meeting not for spectacle, but contrast. He barely reached the giant's knee. No costumes framed the moment, no performance followed. Two extremes stood together while the world observed. That contrast alone held attention. Nothing else was required. Number 10, Lady Olga Jane Barnell, remembered under the name Lady Olga, became one of the most recognizable bearded women in circus history. She was born in Wilmington sometime between 1871 and 1877. Facial hair appeared early, and before she turned 5, her mother sold her to a traveling show. During a tour through Europe, she was abandoned in Germany. Her father eventually found her, but her future had already been decided. Jane grew up inside the business, joining John Robinson's Circus in the 1890s. She later performed with Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, and Coney Island's Dreamland. Her beard grew naturally to 13 inches, without exaggeration or trickery. In 1932, she appeared as herself in Todd Browning's film Freaks. Her Russian, Jewish, and Catawba heritage made her presence even more striking for the era. Jane eventually retired quietly and died in 1951. Decades later, her image remains one of the most recognizable faces ever produced by Sideshow history. Number 9, Madame Gustika. She was presented as Madame Gustika, a name that replaced identity with spectacle. She came from an Ethiopian tribe where lip plating symbolized beauty, strength, and maturity. The plate she wore represented pride rather than deformity. In 1930s New York, that meaning disappeared entirely. Western audiences saw only shock. On April 12, 1930, she was photographed smoking a pipe on stage, an image that survived longer than her truth. She stood with calm dignity, while crowds stared without understanding. To her people, the lip plate carried tradition. To promoters, it represented profit. They described her as exotic, strange, even monstrous. She never reacted with anger or shame. Stillness carried her through every appearance. The woman beneath the stage name was never a curiosity. She represented a tradition older than the tents surrounding her. While spectators judged differences, they failed to notice that she stood taller in pride than anyone watching. Her silence held more power than the noise around her ever could. Number 8, Lou Ramparad. Lou Ramparad was born in Odisha with a parasitic twin attached to his chest. The undeveloped body had arms, legs, and genitals, but no head. Promoters dressed the extra form in girls' clothing to heighten attention, falsely billing him as the happy, healthy Hindu. In reality, Lou was Muslim, Hanif, though accuracy rarely mattered in sideshows. A British showman discovered him in 1888 and brought him to Europe, where curiosity followed immediately. By 1891, he toured America with Barnum and Bailey and other major circuses. Audiences arrived expecting horror and instead encountered a calm, witty man who addressed them kindly. He never described his condition as a tragedy. He treated it as work. In 1905, while traveling to Mexico with the Norris and Roe Circus, a train accident ended his life instantly. Lou lived under constant judgment, yet met it with humor and composure. He never asked for sympathy. Recognition mattered more. Applause was enough. Number 7, Thomas Wetters. Thomas Wetters transformed difference into survival. Born in Yorkshire during the 1700s, he possessed a nose measuring more than 7 inches long. Attention followed quickly. and his face soon appeared on posters and stages across England. Crowds laughed, stared, and whispered, yet Thomas never withdrew. He took what others mocked and made it valuable. Traveling fairs and exhibitions became his livelihood wherever curiosity gathered. Long after his lifetime, a wax figure preserved his likeness at Ripley's Believe It or Not. Some writers questioned his intelligence, judgments formed by people who never looked beyond appearance. Thomas understood the exchange clearly. He offered presence, and the world paid to observe it. Ridicule never bent him. No attempt was made to soften or hide his image. He did not change himself to fit expectations. Instead, he allowed the world to confront its fascination directly. Curiosity kept him working. Confidence kept him upright. And he walked through mockery without apology and left behind a face history refused to forget. Number 6, Patrick Carter O'Brien. Patrick Carter O'Brien stood 8 feet 4 inches tall and claimed royal lineage tracing back to Brian Boru, Ireland's warrior king. Born in Kinsale in 1760, he spent most of his life touring Britain as an exhibition giant. Crowds gathered to witness his scale, hands wide as plates and strides longer than most beds. His earnings allowed retirement by 1804, settling comfortably in Bristol. Death followed 2 years later. 14 men carried his massive coffin in rotating shifts. Fearing grave robbers, Carter ordered his burial 12 feet deep within solid rock. The precaution worked for more than a century until an accidental discovery in 1906. His remains were examined, measured, and returned to rest. In 1972, further study confirmed what audiences had always seen: exactly 8 feet tall. Carter never relied on exaggeration or illusion. His presence required no embellishment. He lived visibly, earned honestly, and prepared carefully, even in death. Some bodies invite myth. He stood firmly in truth alone. Number 5, Major Edward Newell. Edward Newell, widely known on stage as General Grant Jr., became one of Barnum's most familiar little people. Born in 1857, recognition arrived early when he was billed at just 13 years old as the smallest man alive. Measuring 23 inches tall and weighing only 18 pounds, he became a constant presence at Barnum's Museum in New York. Photographs often placed him beside full-sized adults to emphasize contrast, including a well-known image captured by George Stacy. In 1877, he married Minnie Warren, sister of fellow performer Lavinia Warren. Minnie died the following year during childbirth. Newell later traveled to England, remarried an average-sized woman named Marianne Drake, and became a father to 2 children. He continued performing into adulthood, consistently presented as a polite, composed major who accepted curiosity without resentment. Edward Newell died quietly in 1915 at the age of 58, remembered as one of the few performers who retained control over his own story from beginning to end. Number 4, Elizabeth Green. Elizabeth Green became known as the Stork Woman, a stage name promoters turned into a lasting identity. Born in the late 1800s with sharp facial features, a long nose, a pointed chin, and a slender frame, exaggeration followed easily. Circuses leaned heavily into caricature, dressing her in feathers and presenting her as bird-like. Beyond the posters stood a woman who managed her career with calm authority. She performed with Ringling Brothers, negotiated her own contracts, and controlled her finances during a time when most performers had little power. Colleagues described her as carrying more humor than ego and more confidence than vanity. Away from the spotlight, she lived independently and simply, viewing the circus not as exploitation, but as employment. Promotional imagery mocked her appearance, yet Elizabeth understood the exchange clearly. Curiosity funded her freedom. She accepted the role, kept control, and lived entirely on her own terms, laughing quietly while others mistook her for the joke. Number 3, Princess Wei Wei Harriet Elizabeth Williams, known on stage as Princess Wei Wei. He became one of the smallest professional performers in American circus history. Born around 1892, likely in Maryland or Pennsylvania, details of her early life remain scarce. As an adult, she appeared under names such as Princess Pew and the animated chocolate eclair. Promoters claim she stood just 17 inches tall and weighed 12 pounds. She joined Dreamland Circus in 1908 and later toured with Barnum and Bailey in 1910. One surviving photograph shows her lifted by 7-foot actor John Asen beside Harold Lloyd, her size impossible to ignore. Another studio image from 1916 captured her poised and self-assured. Princess Wei Wei continued working throughout the 1910s before fading from records after 1917. She was never merely a novelty. She danced with precision, carried rhythm naturally, and possessed enough presence to quiet an audience without saying a word. Number 2. George Lippard. George Lippard was born in Germany with 2 hearts and 3 legs. The additional limb extended from his right hip, while only 1 heart functioned fully. Rather than hide, he built a career around honesty. During the 1860s, he joined the Sideshow circuit billed as the 3-legged man, traveling across Europe and America. Unlike many performers, he avoided exaggeration and rejected scripted spectacle. He spoke plainly, explaining his condition with patience and clarity. Audiences arrived expecting shock and left having encountered a man fully in control of his identity. As sideshows grew louder and more extreme, interest slowly faded. Age followed, then illness. Gangrene claimed his extra leg, and his final years were spent in poverty. A George Lippard died in 1906. His name gradually disappeared from posters, but his presence endured. What remained was dignity, quiet, unembellished, and never surrendered to spectacle or pity. Number 1, Sarah Hubalt. Sarah Hubalt belongs to the present, not history. She proves the sideshow spirit can exist without cruelty attached. Born with Hallermann-Streiff syndrome, she has partial blindness and stands just under 4 feet 9 inches tall. None of it ever slowed her direction. She became an aerialist, acrobat, and hula hoop performer, appearing on stages across the world. Athletic discipline carried her further when she competed as a swimmer in the 2000 Sydney Paralympics. Sarah calls herself a natural-born freak, reclaiming the word instead of rejecting it. Away from performance, she manages arts programs in New South Wales and advocates for accessibility within creative spaces. Her work bridges circus and theater, emphasizing ability rather than sympathy. Sarah never asks audiences for acceptance. She earns attention through control, humor, and precision. Every performance carries quiet defiance, making it impossible to underestimate her. She stands as living proof that power still rests with the performer. If these stories stayed with you, let us know which one hit the hardest. Subscribe for more hidden history that refuses to stay buried.